Take a deep breath, and let's hear a story about Harper, a woman whose compassion transformed countless lives through quiet generosity and thoughtful attention. The morning light filtered through Harper's bedroom curtains, casting a gentle golden glow across her antique oak desk. Her fingers traced the silver frame holding a photograph of her parents, their smiles frozen in time from that vacation in Maui 15 years ago. The soft breeze carried the scent of blooming jasmine from her garden, a sensory reminder of her mother's favorite flower that she had planted as a tribute. Harper closed her eyes, inhaling deeply, allowing the familiar fragrance to fill her lungs and calm her mind before starting another day. The grand Victorian house that Harper called home sat on a hill overlooking the sleepy coastal town of Bayfield. The sprawling gardens surrounding the property were meticulously maintained, yet retained a wild, enchanting quality that invited visitors to wander and discover hidden benches and bubbling fountains. Birds sang melodiously from the branches of ancient oak trees, creating a natural symphony that made the expansive property feel warm and inviting despite its size. Harper often found herself sitting on the wide porch in the evenings, watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, feeling gratitude for this sanctuary. At 32, Harper Bennett had lived most of her life without her parents, who had died in a sailing accident when she was just 17. The tragedy had thrust her into adulthood prematurely, leaving her with an immense fortune from her father's technology company and her mother's family real estate holdings. The weight of her inheritance had initially felt like a burden, a constant reminder of what she had lost and the void that money could never fill. Yet over time, Harper had discovered that the fortune could be transformed into something meaningful, a tool to create happiness for others. Harper's daily routine began with a cup of chamomile tea, the steam rising in delicate swirls as she sat in her sunroom, surrounded by lush plants that seemed to reach toward her with their vibrant green leaves. The warmth of the porcelain cup between her palms centered her thoughts, preparing her for the day ahead. Today would be special. She had scheduled a meeting with a young artist named Eli who worked at the local coffee shop, his sketchbook always within reach during breaks. Harper had noticed the extraordinary talent in his quick drawings and the wistful expression when he spoke of art school dreams. The town of Bayfield knew Harper as the quiet benefactor who lived in the big house on the hill. Children would wave enthusiastically when they spotted her silver sedan driving through Main Street, and elderly residents would smile knowingly as she passed by. Local businesses found anonymous donations during difficult times, and college acceptance letters were often accompanied by unexpected scholarship notifications for deserving students. Harper moved through the community like a gentle current, observing needs and fulfilling dreams without drawing attention to herself or her generosity. Marcus, Harper's childhood friend and now financial advisor, was the only person who knew the full extent of her charitable activities. His office, with its leather-bound books and scent of sandalwood, provided a comfortable space for them to discuss the logistics of her latest projects. The sound of his fountain pen scratching against paper as he took notes had a soothing quality that Harper appreciated. Marcus understood her desire to remain anonymous, to let the recipients of her kindness enjoy their good fortune without feeling indebted. The coffee shop where Eli worked was a cozy establishment with worn wooden floors that creaked pleasantly underfoot and walls lined with local artwork for sale. Harper arrived early, selecting a quiet corner table where the afternoon sun created a perfect reading light. The rich aroma of freshly ground coffee beans filled the air, mingling with the sweet scent of baked goods. She ordered her usual, a simple Americano, and settled in with a book, occasionally glancing up to observe Eli's interactions with customers. Eli possessed that rare quality of genuine warmth that made each person feel specially attended to when he served them. His dark curly hair often fell across his forehead as he worked, and his hands, artist's hands with long fingers, moved gracefully, whether creating latte art or quickly sketching on napkins for delighted children. When not busy with customers, he would return to his sketchbook, losing himself in the world of lines and shadows. Harper noticed how his shoulders would relax when he drew, as if the pencil in his hand was conducting tension away from his body. Had been supporting his mother through illness for the past 3 years and had deferred his art school acceptance twice due to financial constraints. His talent was undeniable. Even his quick sketches captured not just appearances but essences, revealing an intuitive understanding of his subjects. The walls of the coffee shop featured several of his pieces, landscapes that somehow managed to look both realistic and dreamlike, inviting viewers into worlds that felt both familiar and enchanted. The meeting Harper had arranged wasn't presented as charity. She had established a small foundation that provided grants to emerging local artists, and Eli had been recommended for consideration. She watched as he approached her table, wiping his hands nervously on his apron, unaware that this conversation would change the trajectory of his life. The afternoon sunlight caught the hopefulness in his eyes, and Harper felt the familiar warmth spread through her chest, the quiet joy of being able to transform someone's distant dream into an attainable reality. Throughout Bayfield and beyond, there were dozens of people whose lives had been touched by Harper's generosity. A retired teacher whose novel had been published through an anonymous investor, a young entrepreneur whose eco-friendly business had received startup funding from a community development grant, a violinist studying at a prestigious conservatory thanks to a merit scholarship that covered all expenses. Each success story added a thread to the tapestry of purpose that Harper had woven since her parents' passing, creating meaning from loss and connection from isolation. Sophia Chung was another person on Harper's radar, a brilliant engineering student who worked 3 jobs to support her younger siblings while their parents worked overseas. Harper had observed Sophia studying late into the night at the 24-hour diner, surrounded by textbooks and fueled by endless cups of coffee. The dark circles under Sophia's eyes couldn't diminish the determination in her gaze, and Harper had been quietly arranging a technical innovation scholarship that would allow Sophia to reduce her work hours and focus on her groundbreaking research project. Harper's approach to philanthropy was deeply personal and intuitive. She didn't simply write checks or establish conventional scholarships. She took time to understand each person's unique dreams and challenges, tailoring her assistance to address specific obstacles and provide precisely the right opportunity at the perfect moment. The joy came not from recognition or gratitude, but from witnessing people bloom when given the chance, like plants finally receiving the right amount of sunlight and water after a long period of struggle. The conversation with Eli unfolded exactly as Harper had hoped, his initial skepticism giving way to cautious excitement as she explained the details of the grant program. His hands, usually so steady when drawing, trembled slightly as he reviewed the application forms that were merely a formality, as Harper had already decided to fund his education. The afternoon light soft around them, creating a cocoon of possibility as Eli shared his artistic vision, creating works that helped people see beauty in ordinary moments. Harper listened intently, recognizing in his passion a reflection of her own desire to create more beauty in the world. Two weeks later, Harper sat in her garden, surrounded by the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant melody of wind chimes, reading Eli's heartfelt email announcing his acceptance of the grant and re-enrollment in art school. Her cup of lavender tea sent spirals of fragrant steam into the air as butterflies danced among the flowers she had planted with her mother years ago. A sense of deep contentment settled over Harper like a warm blanket, the knowledge that another dream was taking flight because she had removed the barriers in its path. This was the true inheritance from her parents, not the money, but their belief in helping others reach their potential. Sophia's situation required a different approach, as her pride and sense of responsibility toward her siblings made her hesitant to accept help. Harper arranged a meeting through the engineering department, presenting the scholarship as recognition for academic excellence rather than financial need. The conference room where they met had large windows overlooking the campus quad, sunlight streaming across the polished table. Sophia's posture remained rigid throughout the meeting, her fingers fidgeting with the corner of her carefully prepared resume. But when Harper mentioned the stipend for her siblings' after-school care, the tension in her shoulders visibly released. As summer turned to fall, Harper's network of dreamers continued to grow, each person connected to her by invisible threads of opportunity and gratitude. She maintained a leather-bound journal where she tracked their progress, not as investments, but as stories unfolding. Eli's first gallery showing, scheduled for spring, Sophia's research project gaining attention from major technology companies, a young chef opening a small farm-to-table restaurant with locally sourced ingredients. The pages filled with notes and occasional pressed flowers or ticket stubs, a tangible record of dreams taking shape in the world. Marcus expressed concern during their monthly meeting, his voice carrying the gentle authority of long friendship, as he pointed out that Harper's personal investment in each recipient was becoming emotionally demanding. The office's usually comforting atmosphere felt suddenly confining as Harper defended her approach, insisting that the personal connection was what made her philanthropy meaningful rather than mechanical. The grandfather clock in the corner ticked steadily, marking the silence that fell between them after their uncharacteristic disagreement. Marcus finally nodded in acceptance, understanding that this work was Harper's way of creating family. Autumn painted Bayfield in brilliant shades of red and gold, and Harper found herself increasingly drawn to the community center, where she had recently funded an arts program for children. The sound of childish laughter echoed through the renovated space as young hands explored clay and paint and fabric under the guidance of local artists, including Eli, who volunteered on weekends. Harper often sat quietly in the corner, ostensibly reviewing paperwork, but actually absorbing the pure joy that radiated from the children as they created without self-consciousness or fear of judgment. Their uninhibited creativity reminded her of what adults often lost along the way. The first challenge to Harper's carefully constructed system came when a local newspaper ran a feature article speculating about the mysterious benefactor behind many of Bayfield's recent success stories. The morning she saw the article, Harper's hands shook so badly that she spilled her tea, the liquid forming a golden puddle on her kitchen counter. Her anonymity had protected not just her privacy, but the genuine nature of the relationships she built. Would people still see her as Harper if they knew about her wealth and generosity? The question haunted her as she canceled her appointments for the day and retreated to the garden. It was Sophia who unexpectedly provided perspective, arriving at Harper's door with a small potted succulent and a determined expression. They sat on the porch swing that creaked rhythmically as they talked, the setting sun casting long shadows across the lawn. Sophia spoke of her family's cultural understanding of community support, how accepting help with dignity created bonds rather than debts, and how her grandmother had taught her that gratitude was not about repayment, but about continuing the cycle by helping others when able. The evening air carried the scent of ripening apples from the orchard down the hill, sweet and promising. Eli's first semester of art school coincided with his mother's recovery. Harper would listen while walking through her garden, phone pressed to her ear, smiling at the enthusiasm in his voice as he described color theory classes and figure drawing sessions. The connection between his artistic growth and his mother's healing seemed symbolic somehow, a reminder that when one person thrives, the positive effects ripple outward in unexpected ways. After these calls, Harper would sit by her reflection pond, watching koi fish glide beneath the surface, their movements creating ephemeral patterns in the water. As Harper's network expanded beyond Bayfield to neighboring communities, she recognized the need for more structure without sacrificing the personal touch that made her approach unique. The solution came in the form of Riley Jordan, a retired social worker with a talent for connecting with people and an extensive knowledge of community resources. Harper converted the carriage house on her property into an office, filling it with comfortable furniture and good lighting. The space smelled of fresh paint and new possibilities as Harper interviewed Riley, whose kind eyes and thoughtful responses confirmed she was the perfect partner for this evolving mission. With Riley's help, Harper developed a more sustainable system for identifying promising recipients and providing tailored support. Their working sessions often extended into the evening, the carriage house windows glowing warmly against the darkening sky as they reviewed applications and discussed potential projects. The sound of rain pattering against the roof created a soothing backdrop for their conversations, punctuated occasionally by comfortable silences as they both considered a particularly compelling story or innovative idea. The holiday season brought an unexpected proposal from Marcus, who suggested establishing a formal foundation that could continue Harper's work, even when she needed to step back. The conference room where they met was decorated with subtle holiday touches, small pine tree in the corner, filling the space with its fresh scent, soft classical music playing in the background. Harper's initial resistance softened as Marcus outlined, a structure that would preserve her values and methods while providing legal protection and potential tax benefits. The foundation would create a legacy honoring her parents while expanding the impact of her personal philosophy. By winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, Harper found herself standing in the community center, surrounded by people whose lives had been changed through her quiet interventions. Eli with his mother, who was now well enough to attend his art exhibition, Sophia with her siblings who were flourishing in their after-school programs, a young chef whose restaurant had become a local favorite, and dozens of others. The room hummed with conversation and laughter, glowing with string lights that reflected in the windows like earthbound stars. Harper hadn't planned this gathering. Riley had organized it as a celebration of community and interconnection, carefully avoiding any mention of Harper's role. As the new year dawned crisp and bright, Harper sat in her sunroom watching the first light touch the frost-covered garden, transforming ordinary branches into glittering sculptures. The Bennett Foundation had been officially established, with Riley as director and Marcus handling the financial aspects, allowing Harper to focus on what she did best, identifying dreams worth nurturing and people with the passion to pursue them. A profound sense of rightness settled over her as she sipped her morning tea, the warmth spreading through her body, mirroring the warmth in her heart. This evolution felt like growth rather than change, an organic development of the seeds planted years ago. The Foundation's first official project was the renovation of an abandoned building downtown into affordable studios for artists and makers, with Eli serving as consultant on the design. Harper walked through the space during early construction, dust motes dancing in the sunbeams that streamed through newly uncovered windows, the sound of hammers and saws creating an industrious symphony. She could already envision the creative energy that would fill these rooms, the dreams that would take shape here. The building's transformation paralleled her own journey from isolation to connection. Sophia's graduation ceremony fell on a perfect spring day, the university quad awash in sunshine and the sweet scent of flowering trees. Harper sat inconspicuously among the crowd, watching with quiet pride as Sophia received her engineering degree with highest honors, the first in her family to complete college. The rustle of ceremonial robes and the gentle breeze, the solemn music of the processional, the jubilant cheers of families, all created a tapestry of accomplishment and possibility. Afterward, Sophia introduced Harper to her parents who had flown in for the occasion, their eyes shining with the universal language of parental pride. The Bennett Foundation's reputation grew steadily, attracting attention from other philanthropists, interested in this personalized approach to creating opportunity. Harper found herself reluctantly stepping into a mentorship role, sharing her philosophy over lunches in her garden where butterflies fluttered among blooming flowers, and the gurgle of the fountain provided a soothing backdrop for conversation. These discussions often left her pleasantly tired but fulfilled, like the satisfying exhaustion that follows meaningful work. She was planting new seeds now, ideas that would grow and flower in communities far beyond Bayfield. Eli's first major solo exhibition opened at a prestigious gallery in the city, his evolution as an artist evident in the confident brush strokes and emotional depth of his landscapes. Harper moved quietly through the crowded space, overhearing snippets of impressed conversation, watching Eli graciously receive compliments from art critics and collectors. The subtle lighting highlighted the luminous quality of his work, and the gallery hummed with appreciation and the soft clink of wine glasses. When their eyes met across the room, Eli's grateful smile conveyed everything words could not. The journey from coffee shop sketches to this moment of artistic arrival. Summer brought the official opening of the Makers Studios downtown, the renovated building now vibrant with creativity and collaboration. The ribbon-cutting ceremony was simple but meaningful, with Mayor Chun, Sophia's younger sister, who had been inspired to enter public service, giving a speech about community revitalization through the arts. Sunshine streamed through the newly installed skylights, illuminating the gathering of artists, craftspeople, and community members who would benefit from this space. Harper stood at the back, watching new connections form as people mingled, the air filled with possibility and the scent of fresh paint. The foundation's ongoing success allowed Harper to step back occasionally, taking time for personal renewal through travel and study. Her journey took her to small villages in Italy, where she learned traditional crafts from elderly artisans, their weathered hands guiding hers as she worked with clay or textiles. The rhythmic sound of looms or pottery wheels became a form of meditation, and the simple meals shared with her teacher's fresh bread, local cheese, wine from nearby vineyards nourished her body and spirit. These experiences enriched her understanding of the connection between creativity and well-being, insights she brought back to the Foundation's programs. On a crisp autumn evening, Harper hosted a harvest dinner in her garden for the Foundation's growing family of dreamers and supporters. Tables were arranged among the fruit trees, adorned with wildflowers and illuminated by strings of soft golden lights. The gentle murmur of conversation blended with occasional laughter and the distant sound of waves breaking on the shore below. As Harper looked around at the faces of people whose lives had interwoven with hers, Eli, now teaching art at the local college, Sophia developing sustainable technology, Riley mentoring new staff. She felt a profound sense of belonging that she hadn't experienced since her parents were alive. The 5th anniversary of the Bennett Foundation was marked by the publication of a book showcasing the stories of 50 individuals whose dreams had been realized through its programs. Harper ran her fingers over the embossed cover, the texture pleasant against her skin. Before opening to the introduction, she had written about the power of personalized philanthropy. The book's pages carried the slight scent of fresh ink and possibility, each story a testament to what could happen when barriers were removed from talented, passionate individuals. The quiet pride Harper felt wasn't for herself, but for the beautiful tapestry of human potential these stories represented. As the Foundation's work expanded internationally, Harper found herself traveling to remote communities where local leaders had expressed interest in adapting her model. In a mountain village in Peru, she sat with elders around a fire, the crackling flames casting warm light on attentive faces as they discussed how to support young artisans in preserving traditional crafts while finding new markets. The thin mountain air carried the scent of wood smoke and cooking herbs, and despite the language differences, Harper felt the universal connection of shared purpose. These conversations across cultures reinforced her belief in the fundamental human desire to create and contribute. Harper's 50th birthday arrived with little fanfare, celebrated simply with a small gathering at her home. The years had added silver threads to her hair and fine lines around her eyes that deepened when she smiled, which was often. As evening fell, she walked with Marcus along the garden paths, arm in arm with her oldest friend who had supported her vision from the beginning. The garden was fragrant with night-blooming jasmine, and the sound of the ocean provided a gentle soundtrack to their conversation about the Foundation's future. Harper felt a deep contentment knowing that the work would continue beyond her lifetime, nurturing dreams and creating opportunities for generations to come. Eli's appointment as the Foundation's creative director brought Harper full circle. The young barista with artistic dreams, now a respected artist and mentor, guiding the next generation of creatives. They often met in Harper's sunroom, bright with morning light and filled with the sweet fragrance of ripening fruit from the garden, to discuss new initiatives and review applications. Harper noticed with satisfaction how Eli had developed his own approach to mentoring, attentive and encouraging, but also challenging recipients to push beyond their comfort zones. His journey from recipient to leader embodied the Foundation's core philosophy of creating sustainable cycles of opportunity and support. The Bennett Foundation's 20th anniversary coincided with Harper's decision to step back from day-to-day operations, trusting the capable team she had assembled to carry forward her vision. The celebration was held at the Community Arts Center, now expanded to include performance spaces and technology labs alongside the original studios. As Harper moved through the crowd, accepting warm hugs and heartfelt thanks, she felt the pleasant weight of completion, not an ending, but the fulfillment of a promise she had made to herself and to her parents' memory long ago. The room buzzed with the energy of hundreds of lives touched and transformed, a living testament to the power of compassionate action. On quiet evenings, Harper still enjoyed sitting on her porch swing, listening to the symphony of night sounds, crickets chirping, leaves rustling, waves breaking on the distant shore. The rhythmic creaking of the swing provided a comforting counterpoint as she reflected on the journey that had begun with loss and expanded into a life rich with purpose and connection. The scent of night-blooming flowers drifted on the cool breeze, and stars appeared one by one in the darkening sky like dreams waiting to be discovered. Harper felt a profound gratitude for the path that had led her here to this moment of peaceful contemplation. The guest cottage on Harper's property became a retreat for foundation recipients needing space to focus on ambitious projects or recover from setbacks. Writers completed novels, scientists developed innovative solutions to environmental challenges, and artists explored new mediums in the tranquil setting. Harper enjoyed providing simple meals that visitors could heat at their convenience, often leaving fresh flowers or homemade treats on the cottage porch. The knowledge that her home was a sanctuary for others' dreams brought her deep satisfaction, transforming what might have been a lonely estate into a vibrant incubator for creativity and innovation. As her 7th decade approached, Harper began working with a historian to document the Foundation's methodology and impact, ensuring that the principles guiding her work would be preserved. They often met in her library, surrounded by books and memorabilia, the room filled with the comforting scent of old paper and leather bindings. The soft ticking of the grandfather clock marked the passage of time as Harper shared stories of the Foundation's evolution, from informal assistance to a global network of opportunity. The process of reflection brought new insights about the ripple effects of compassionate action, how one person's achievement could inspire countless others. The Bennett Foundation's endowment, carefully managed by Marcus over the decades, had grown substantially, ensuring its work could continue in perpetuity. Harper took particular pleasure in establishing a succession plan that included former recipients in leadership roles, creating a self-sustaining cycle of mentorship and support. The legal documents were signed in her garden on a perfect spring morning, butterflies flitting among blooming flowers as if celebrating this milestone. Harper felt the warm sun on her face a gentle breeze carrying the scent of roses, and knew with absolute certainty that her parents would be proud of how she had transformed their legacy into a force for good in the world. Harper's final years were marked by a serene acceptance of life's natural rhythms, her days filled with simple pleasures and meaningful connections. She continued to meet with foundation recipients, now as an elder advisor, offering wisdom and perspective rather than financial support. Young dreamers sought her out for conversations in her garden, drawn by her legendary ability to see potential and remove obstacles. The foundation had developed a life of its own, evolving beyond her original vision while remaining true to its core principles. As Harper watched new generations carry forward the work of nurturing dreams, she felt the deep satisfaction of having created something both lasting and ever-changing, like the garden she had tended for a lifetime.